they will just think, oh, that was a strange illness that took so and so suddenly, and things like that. But God was saying that we will see that in the final days, when he is exposing the sins of people, that we will see pastors going to jail for murder. And so back to back, when I shared this information, when I saw it, I shared it as an example of what God was saying, because at the time I shared it, 73 people starved themselves to death at the behest of their pastor. So please understand, they were not on a church fast. They starved themselves. He told them that to live is Christ, but to die is gain. He told them that you can get a head start on spending time with Jesus if you die early, and you die in this manner by starving yourself to death. Then you will achieve and attain Christ faster. Now, at first approach, when you hear this, you will think, well, how could they believe that? But then if you think that, that just goes to show that you don't really have an understanding of how things work in the dark realm. I've spoken about many powers that operate through the power of an evil tongue. I've spoken of the power of suggestion. And I've shared here, speaking to people in the United States of America, the sad fact that God has revealed that the reason many young people in America take their lives is due to the satanic power of suggestion. So someone can irritate you and then you'll just say, go away. And nothing happens if a person can even laugh and say, okay, I'll go away. That's not the power of the evil power of suggestion. The evil power of suggestion is where Satan, working through the power of hatred and malice in the heart, empowers the words of a person's mouth to have killing power. And I shared here how a young person can be bullied by their peers to take their life. Because of social media, all these children are connected. It's just not a normal connection like, oh, we're all friends on Facebook or we're friends on Snapchat. No, it is actually kind of like coming into covenants, all of them together. They are bonded in ways that they don't understand. And so when one of them is ostracized by the other and they begin to pummel that person and just say, do yourself a favor, kill yourself. Everybody hates you. Why don't you just do everyone a favor and die already? This is the trend here in America, and not a single person can deny it, because we have all heard of the suicides. We have all heard of the children who have subtracted themselves out of life because of their peers telling them this. Now, to a normal thinking person, if someone tells you that, you'll just be like, well, I don't care what you say. But the tongue has been dipped in poison. And that poison goes to the heart of an undefended soul. That poison even has gone to the heart of adults here in America. And when that poison goes into the heart and you don't have someone trained in understanding spiritual things who's able to lay hands and ask the Lord to extract that venom, then yes, the poison spreads exactly like the bite of a serpent and goes to the mind. And then the person acts upon the demonic impulse that has hit them like so many darts. And they do take their lives. This is what this man did in Kenya. And I was saying it to the people on the community page so that they can have an understanding not only of the prophecy that God had spoken concerning this, but how it works. Food is essential to the body. The body has its own prompts to let you know that it's hungry. You don't need to ask the body, are you hungry? Because I'm watching out for you. The body will tell you, I am hungry now. Give me something to eat. Therefore, in order to suppress the natural urge for food, there has to be an impulse or a directive, a command and order given that is stronger than the natural need for food. These people were not tied down. In fact, what they had done is to tie down their children in another part of this away from the city, this off-campus separated compound, so that when their children, who were also being forced to offer this sacrifice to meet Jesus early, so that when their children would begin to cry out for bread and to cry in hunger, the parents starving in a different location would not be tempted to break the self-imposed fast and go and rescue their children. This is the kind of diabolical wickedness that I have been trying to wake America up to for years, to tell you that the pastors that are teaching you have no clue, literally from A to Z, of what the spiritual realm is like. They have no clue about the onslaught of demonic wickedness, a whole testament of Satan that is coming against the church in the last days. They're busy in their pulpits with their little glass pulpits teaching you about David's brave stand against Goliath that they've been preaching for the last 60 years. They're not telling the church about the power of spells. They're not telling the church about the fact that witches come to these weak, watered down churches and place curses and hexes on the people. And they're sitting there and listening to a weak, watered down gospel that cannot save them because Christ is not in the midst of this. People caught up in dreams of incubus and succubi. Spirits are touching them. Things are raping them. And they're telling the pastors. And he's like, I think it's in your imagination, because he is clueless. He is untaught. He has absolutely no spiritual armor on. So how can he armor you and protect you? Meanwhile, right here, the churches are captured to witches and warlocks. Witches and warlocks stand in the pulpits of the USA. And they are some of the most famous and loved pastors that the Lord has had me call here by name. And when you mention their name, there's a spark in their followers. It's almost like a lit match, like kindling wood. They go off. Why? Because the spell is bone deep in them. They are like little birds caught in the snare.